Hello everyone, myself Shweta Shah, Assistant Professor at ELS Institute of Engineering and Technology, Ahmedabad. We are here for the subject Computer Organization and Architecture. In this subject, we have started Unit 6, that is Pipelining and Vector Processing. In this unit, in last session, we have seen the pipelining concept, and using pipelining concept, how you can speed up your operation. In this session, we are going to see arithmetic pipelining. Let me start with arithmetic pipelining. The pipelining arithmetic units are usually found in very high speed computers. For last session, we have seen the classification. In this classification, first type is SIST, single instruction and single data stream. In that also, you can design your data processing, or you can say your ALU, by using this kind of arithmetic pipeline. Okay, so that is also possible thing. So they are used, generally arithmetic pipelining are used to design your floating point operations, multiplication operation, etc. Okay, so let first we see this arithmetic pipelining with simple example of floating point numbers addition and subtraction. Okay, let we have two numbers like x is equals to a into 2 raised to a and y is equals to b into 2 raised to b. Here a represents your fractional part, or you can say as a mantissa. Capital A denotes your mantissa and small a denotes your exponent. And similarly, capital B denotes your mantissa and small b denotes your exponent. Okay, so we have represented these numbers in terms of binary. So we have used base as a 2. But we will do this, for example, we will do this operation on a decimal number. Why decimal number? Because this addition subtraction we can understand easily. Okay, the same operation will be done on the number if you have represented this number in terms of binary. Okay, that is not depending upon your which number system you have used. The operation will be same. Let me see the number which we have represented in terms of decimal system. Okay, we have first number x is equals to 0.9504 into 10 raised to 3, and second number y is equals to 0.8200 into 10 raised to 2. Here 0.9504 is your exponent, and is your mantissa, and 3 is your exponent. And similarly 0.822 is your mantissa and 2 is your exponent. Here we have used the terms normalized floating point number. What is this normalized floating point number? In normalized floating point number, after your digit, after your point, that is your decimal, if your number is in decimal terms, your decimal point. If your number is in a binary representation, then binary point. After this point, you have some number rather than 0. Okay, if your number system is binary, you will have 1 over here after your binary point. If your number system is decimal, you can have 1 2 9, any number after your decimal point. Okay, so in this we have used some number after your decimal point. That's why our number we have represented over here is in terms of normalized floating point number. Okay, so we want to do the operation of addition of these two numbers that we have represented by x and y, and we want to do addition of these two numbers. How you can do the addition? Just by simply adding, it is possible to do simply adding mantissa terms, your addition is done? No. For that, you require that your exponent terms of both of this number which you want to add should be same. Same thing will be done with subtraction operation. Okay, so for addition or subtraction, you require that your exponent terms of both of these numbers should be same. If that exponent is same, you can directly do subtraction or addition of this mantissa terms. Okay, so how you can adjust this, how you can make same exponent. Generally what we do, we check both of this exponent, and whichever exponent is larger, that we will take as our results exponents. Okay, so here in this case, first number x has a exponent 3, y has a exponent 2. Which is larger? 3 is larger. Okay, so we will consider that our result will have exponent terms as a 3. Okay, so to do this, what we require, we have to adjust the second number's exponent as a 3. How you can adjust this? If you shift this decimal number point to right side, so you can increase your exponent by 1. If you shift it one time to right side, you will increase the exponent by 1. So instead of writing y as a 0.8200 into 10 raised to 2, we can also write it as a 0.082 into 10 raised to 3. Those both of these numbers, 0.8200 into 10 raised to 2 and 0.0820 into 10 raised to 3, both of these numbers has the same value. Its value is not going to be changed, but just the representation is going to be changed. And this is required. Why? Because we want to do addition or subtraction operation on this exponent numbers. Okay, so we require this exponent to be same, so that we will adjust this. To increase the exponent, you have to shift this number to right side. To decrease, you have to shift this left side. But here we require to increase, so we will shift this numbers to right side, and exponent will be incremented by 1. Okay, so this is our shifted version of our number. Then what we want to do, then we want to do addition of these numbers. So exponent is will be same as we have done the normalization of this exponent. So our results exponent will be 10 raised to 3. But Mantissa terms you can find out by this simply addition of this 2 Mantissa, or if you are given you have to do subtraction operation, then you have to do this subtraction operation on this 2 Mantissa terms. Okay, so simply by adding this 0.9504 plus 0.0820, we will get 1.0324 into 10 raised to 3 as our exponent term is same. Okay, so it is our result of this addition of two floating point number. But if it is okay, it is represented in a normalized manner? No. So what you require to represent this number into a normalized manner. How you can do this normalization? For that, your normalized number will always have any number after your decimal point. Okay, so your representation should be like 0 point something. Okay, here we have representation like 1.03. That is not okay. You require 0.10 something like this. Okay, so what you require, so you have to shift this number to right side. If you shift your number to right side, then your value should not be changed. So to remain value as it is, you have to increase the exponent by 1. Okay, so here instead of writing 1.0324 into 10 raised to 3, we have to write 0.10324 into 10 raised to 4 by incrementing exponent by 1 and shifting this number to right side. Okay, so we can obtain this like this normalized sum. Okay, what we have done, we have first checked the number, then check the exponent terms. If the exponent terms are equal, then okay. If it is not equal, then you have to do equal. How you can make equal exponent terms? By shifting. Okay, so by shifting on shifting for required exponent, you will do shifting right side of another number. Generally, we will take larger exponent as our results exponent, and another Mantissa terms is going to be shifted right side according to requirement. How many exponent, how you require the exponent according to that. Okay, and then thirdly, we will do the addition or subtraction of Mantissa terms, and in fourth thing, we are doing this normalization of your result, that your result should be in a normalized form. Okay, So this is our requirement. This task will be done on every number system. If your number is in a binary system, then also you will do the same task. If your number is in a decimal system, you will do the same task. Okay, so this 4 tasks are required. Okay, or you can say whenever you want to divide this arithmetic task into pipelined manner, so you require 4 segments. Okay, in first segment, what is you are going to do? In first segment, you are going to compare this exponent terms, and according to requirement, you will decide which exponent you are going to use as your results exponent. Okay, in second stage, you will adjust your Mantissa terms. Okay, that means you do some shifting operation. Okay, in third stage or third segment, you will do the addition of this Mantissa terms. Okay, and in fourth segment, you will do the normalization operation. Okay, so we can divide this task into 4 segments. The first segment, exponents are compared, and for this comparison we will do the subtraction operation and we will determine the difference. If it is 0, if difference is 0, that means your exponent terms are equal. But if it is not 0, then you have to choose one as your results exponent and shift another as required. Okay, then second thing, what we will do in second stage, we will do alignment of this Mantissa. In third stage, we will do addition or subtraction operation, and in fourth stage, we will normalize the result. Okay, so in we have used the addition operation here, so that's why our overflow is done. Our overflow condition is over here, that is your result is like 1.0 something. If you do subtraction operation, then there is possibility that you will go under as underflow. For example, your result is going to be like 0.01, something like that in Mantissa terms. Okay, so to normalize that, you require your term should be in form of 0.1 or 0.2 or 0.3 likewise. Okay, so you will require to shift your Mantissa to left side. Okay, if overflow occur, we will shift to right side and increment the exponent by 1. If underflow occurs, we will shift Mantissa by left and decrement the exponent by 1. Okay, so this is requirement for your floating point addition and subtraction. Let we see how we can design its pipelining. Okay, so here as we discussed, we will divide this whole task into 4 segments. First segment will compare the exponent. Second segment will align the Mantissa according to requirement of comparison. Third segment will do addition or subtraction operation on Mantissa. And fourth and last segment will normalize your result. Okay, so here we have designed each and every segment. How you can design pipelining? For designing pipelining, you have to divide whole task into sub segments, and each segment is going to be represented by some combinational circuit and its output resistor. Okay, that we have seen in a basic concept of pipelining. So what we have done, we have done here some combinational circuit and storing of that combinational circuit, that is you have stored something into resistor, and that is going to be passed to next stage. Okay, so this result is going to be passed to next stage. For next stage, some combinational circuit and some resistor. For next stage, some combinational circuit and some resistor, some combinational circuit and some resistor. Okay, so by this way we are going to divide whole task into 4 segments. In first segment, we are going to compare this exponent. Okay, so for that input, we have used 2 resistor. In one resistor, you will store this exponent terms, that is small a and small b. In another resistor, we will store Mantissa as a and b. Here we have denoted only one resistor to store 2 Mantissa and 2 exponent. You can consider there is 2 different resistor to store your different exponent. You have here 2 resistor to store a and b, 2 resistor to store capital A and capital B. That is okay, but here we are using just a representation that you have stored this Mantissa terms and exponent. Okay, then what we require to do in a first stage? In the first segment, we require to compare the exponent. Okay, so this comparing the exponent will be done by subtraction operation, and difference is going to be calculated. Okay, if you're, and by this time you will decide your exponent, which exponent you are going to use. Generally we are using the largest exponent, so that is going to be stored over here. Okay, that you will pass over here resistor R, and we will choose this in next segment, and that is going to be passed to next stage. So here we will compare this exponent terms, and the result is going to be find out, difference is going to be find out, and according to difference your Mantissa term is going to be shifted, or you can say align or shift. Generally this alignment will require shift right operation, and according to shift right operation you will increment the exponent for that Mantissa, or you can say for that exponent, for that number, and that is going to be stored over here. And we have already chosen one exponent term, and that is we have chosen over here, and that is going to be stored here in resistor R. Okay, so in first stage we have compared the exponent, and according to that we have decided which exponent we are going to be used. And in second segment we have aligned this Mantissa term. Okay, and in third stage what we require, or you can say third segment, we will do the addition and subtraction of this Mantissa terms. Okay, so here in here R represents your exponent terms are going to be stored, and here this R represents your Mantissa terms are going to be stored. Okay, so this R stores your aligned Mantissa A and B, and this R stores your exponent that you have chosen and what you require to achieve. Okay, so that is stored over here in R, and this Mantissa terms are stored over here in R resistor. In third segment we are going to do addition or subtraction of these two Mantissa terms, and the result is going to be stored into this R resistor. So your result is Mantissa is stored over here R, in R, and exponent is stored over here in R. Okay, now in fourth stage what we require to normalize the result. How you can do normalizing of result? By shifting Mantissa left side or right side. If there is overflow, then you will shift it to right side. If it is underflow, then you will shift it to left side. Okay, so your normalized Mantissa is going to be stored over here in R. But while you are normalizing your Mantissa, you have to change the exponent terms also. If you have done, if you have occurred overflow and shifted right side your Mantissa, then you have to increase your exponent. And if there is underflow, then you have shifted your Mantissa to left side, so you require to decrement the exponent terms. Okay, so according to your normalized result you have to adjust these exponent terms, and that adjusted exponent are going to be stored here in R. So your normalized Mantissa is over here, and adjusted exponent according to that are stored over here. Okay, so in this four stages we have divided our floating point numbers additions task. In first segment, or you can say first segment, we are just comparing the exponent by doing subtraction operation. In second segment we are aligning the Mantissa. In third segment we are doing addition and subtraction of Mantissa, and in fourth segment we are normalizing the result. Okay, so this is our requirement, how we can design the arithmetic pipeline. Same thing you can do for multiplication operation, for division operation. Okay, so this is just a basic example how you can design arithmetic pipeline. Okay, let me see how speed up is done with this arithmetic pipelining. Here the exponent, subtraction, Mantissa alignment, addition, subtraction, normalizing result, this all blocks are designed by some combinational circuits. Okay, and let me see how much speed up is done. Suppose that the time delay for these four segments, for the first segment, second segment, third segment, and fourth segment, has like first segment has 60 seconds time delay, second segment has a 70 seconds time delay, third segment has a 100 seconds time delay, and fourth segment has a 80 seconds time delay. What this time delay denotes? That time delay denotes how much time required by that segment to complete its task of its combinational circuits. Then you have to store that result into your resistor, into its stages resistor, so that it will also require some time to store your result into that resistor. For example, that is 10 nanosecond. Okay, that we can say as an interfacing resistor delay. Okay, and we will represent it by TR as a 10 nanosecond. So each segment will require its own time plus time required to store this data into that resistor. Okay, so here we are doing parallel operation, right? For one data set you are using segment 1, second data set you are using segment 2, third data set you are using segment 3, fourth data segment you are using data set you are using segment 4, and so on. Okay, so by this way, what we have seen in pipelining concept, we have seen that for your first task you will require a time period, you can say clock period equal to number of segment, and after that at end of each and every clock you have one task to be completed, you have output of one task to be completed. Okay, so we are working on the clock period. Okay, so how we can design the clock period, how we can apply the clock period to all four stages, because all different stages requires different time. Some require 60 nanoseconds, some require 70 nanoseconds, some requires 100 nanoseconds. So that will depends upon maximum delay. Okay, so maximum delay is over here is of third segment, that is 100 nanosecond, and the time required to store that result into your resistor, that is 10 nanosecond. So minimum we require clock period of 100 nanoseconds plus 10 nanoseconds, that is 110 nanoseconds minimum clock period is required for each and every stage. Okay, so that all of your tasks can be done on parallel. We know that first segment requires only 60 seconds, 60 nanoseconds, second segment only requires 100 nanoseconds, but we will provide the extra time so that the segment 3's task is also completed on one clock. Okay, so we will require this 110 nanoseconds for your clock period. We know that after each clock we have if we have used pipelining concept, after each and every clock our one task is going to be completed. Okay, so by end of 110 nanosecond, if your data or you can say task is so many, that means your task is 100. So after end of each and every clock you have one task to be completed, so that you can say your task will require 110 nanoseconds if you have used pipelining concept. Okay, but what if you have not used pipelining concept? So you will require how many time? You will require time for each and every segment. Your data is going to be passed with for one segment 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then your output. Okay, so it will have delay of all 4 stages. Okay, so we can add plus your storing of resistor. Okay, so for that, if you have not used pipelining concept, your total time required to complete any one task will be addition of this all of this data, that will be like 320 nanoseconds. Okay, if you have used pipelining concept, then at the end of each and every clock you will have one task to be done, and we have used a clock period by using the maximum delay, and that is 110 nanoseconds we require to complete one task for pipelining, and without pipelining we require 320 nanoseconds. So how much speed up is done? That is equals to 320 divided by 110 nanosecond, and that is equals to 2.9. so our speed up nearly 3 times. We have derived that that is nearly equal to number of segments. But if your number of tasks are less, then that is maximum number. So you can have your speed up less than your number of segments. So we are getting over here speed up of 2.9, that is nearly 3 times faster you can complete your arithmetic task if you use pipelining concept rather than not using pipelining concept. Okay, so this is basically arithmetic pipelining, and we are ending our today's session over here. In next session we will see instruction pipelining.